Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Small Business Bootcamp. Today we're going to talk about my favorite topic, which is called delegation. One doesn't survive without it. And as part of delegation, hiring and retaining talent, because obviously you aren't able to delegate tasks if you don't have people around that can do them. Okay, people often ask me, what is delegation? Well, delegation is probably easier to define by what it's not. Delegation isn't set it and forget it. Delegation isn't also giving a task and micromanaging it. Delegation is giving a task with direction and with goals and managing against those goals. So for example, you give a task, say webinar posts or webinar sessions, and that person is then responsible on a weekly meeting to share with you progress against that goal. That is delegation. It's not doing the task, but it's monitoring the task. Okay, so when we talk about how to delegate, what I love as a good metaphor is, if you've ever seen the show Hoarders, this is a good metaphor of delegation, especially for task hoarders like small business owners. A lot of us like to hoard everything in because it's expensive to do it elsewhere, or, oh yeah, we can do that, when in truth we probably shouldn't. So the first task I always ask our clients to go through is the keep versus toss. So imagine your closet and you have all these clothes, some of which you've never worn and some of which you wear all the time. It's going through your list of daily activities and saying, okay, what are things that have to be done by me and what are things that don't have to be done by me? So that's the first step. The second step is then looking at priority. What is the most things that are done by me that could only be done by me, or are the highest priority, things that are strategic, things that are critical to the business success, which would obviously be strategic, but the point being is things that you must do. So now you have three lists: things that you don't have to do, things that you do but aren't your highest priority, and things that are your highest priority that you must do, all right? So we have our three buckets. The next is around matching those buckets with the people that you have on your team. So the things that you don't have to do. First question, can they be automated? If they can be automated, that's great. No extra expense for you. Tasks are automated, off your list. If they're not, you have to look at your team and say which people have the right skill sets to do these types of jobs. You do that for those things that you don't have to do, and you do that for your low priority items. Finally, after you go through that process, you start to say, all right, now that you put a name to the people that are doing these tasks, and you say, do I have the right people or enough people to do the tasks that need to be done? Either in bucket A, which is tasks you don't need to do, or bucket B, which is tasks you could do but aren't as high as a priority. If you do that, you have just created a job description and a skills assessment for the people that you need on your team. That would then segue into, do I have the right people on my team? So again, to go through delegation, first is the keep versus toss conversation. What must you do? What can somebody else do? Then within the what must do, what is critical and what is not critical. After which we start to get into the talent discussion. Okay, so how do you know the right people to delegate the tasks to? Well, you've just put a list of tasks. You know what skills are required. The next step for you to do is to take your team and say, I have Sally, Joe, and Steve. All right, Sally is good at X, Y, and Z. Steve is good at a different set of tasks. Number 3 is good with the other set of tasks. Looking at that skill sets, you can start to match tasks with people and know who would be the right person to take over which job and which role. So we've gone through the Sally, Steve, and Joe, or whomever is on your team, and you've gone through their skill sets and you've gone through the tasks. And what happens if you have things that are missed? Well, then you start to talk about, how do I craft a role around the tasks that aren't being done or could not be done well by the people that I have, so I can write a job